Leo loved old houses, the kind that creaked and groaned with the weight of untold stories. So when he found the secluded farmhouse, tucked away down a forgotten country lane, he knew he had to have it. The real estate agent had been vague, mentioning the previous owner left abruptly, but Leo didn't care. The price was a steal. First few weeks were idyllic. He spent his days patching the roof and painting the peeling walls, feeling a deep sense of accomplishment. The only oddity was a small locked door at the back of the pantry. It had no keyhole, just a heavy iron latch rusted shut. Leo figured it was an old root cellar and made a mental note to pry it open later. One night a storm rolled in, shaking the old house to its foundations. Rain lashed against the windows and wind howled through the eaves. As Leo sat reading by the fire, a faint sound reached him over the storm's fury. A rhythmic asterisk thump, 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 coming from the direction of the pantry. Curiosity piqued. He grabbed a flashlight and went to investigate. The sound was definitely coming from behind the small locked door. He pressed his ear against the cold wood. Asterisk thump, thump. Asterisk. It was louder now, more insistent. It sounded like someone was knocking, but that was impossible. The door led to a cellar and he had checked the entire perimeter of the house. There was no outside entrance. He told himself it was just the wind or a loose pipe, but a sliver of fear began to crawl up his spine. He backed away, locked the pantry, and went to bed, trying to ignore the persistent, rhythmic knocking that seemed to follow him into his dreams. The next day, the knocking was gone. Leo felt foolish. It was just an old house settling, he reasoned. But that evening, as dusk settled, it returned. Asterisk thump, thump, thump. Slower this time, more deliberate. Every night it was the same. Leo's peaceful new life had become a sleepless nightmare, punctuated by the relentless sound from behind the door. He stopped inviting friends over, terrified they might hear it too. Finally, after a week of torment, he couldn't take it anymore. He grabbed a crowbar from his toolbox and marched to the pantry. He was going to end this. With a grunt, he wedged the crowbar into the seam and pulled. The old wood splintered and groaned in protest. He pulled again, putting all his weight into it, until with a loud crack, the rusty latch gave way, and the door swung inward, revealing a flight of stone steps leading down into absolute darkness. The knocking stopped. An eerie silence filled the house. A musty, cold air wafted up from the opening. Leo shone his flashlight down the stairs, but the beam was swallowed by the oppressive black. He hesitated for a moment, then took a step down, then another. The steps were slick with dampness. He reached the bottom and found himself in a small, stone-walled room. It was completely empty. No pipes, no furniture, nothing. He swept his light across the bare walls, confused. Where had the sound come from? Then as his flashlight beam reached the wall opposite the stairs, his blood ran cold. Scratched into the stone over and over again were 3 words: "Let me out." He stumbled back in terror, his heart pounding in his chest. He spun around to flee back up the stairs, but his flashlight caught something he hadn't seen before. Standing at the top of the steps, silhouetted against the dim light from the kitchen, was the small, unmoving figure of a child. And as Leo stared, frozen in horror, the figure slowly, deliberately, reached out and slammed the cellar door shut, plunging him into total darkness. Then, from the other side of the door, he heard it. The soft, metallic click of a latch sliding into place, and the knocking began again. Only this time, he was the one doing it. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more chills. See you next time.